Conservative lawmakers in the great state of Missouri are currently squabbling over whether or not they want to defund the state's public library system. Because, that should be a priority, right? Except it shouldn't be. This is incredibly stupid, and I'll explain why. So unsurprisingly, this nonsense infighting, yes, it's actual infighting within the GOP in Missouri, has its roots in the rights war on libraries in general. So let's give you the details on how this all came about. Last year, a state senator in Missouri by the name of Rick Bratton hijacked a bill that was originally meant to give more rights to survivors of sexual assaults. Now, Bratton included an amendment that prohibited educators from providing sexually explicit material to students, which the bill defines as visual depictions of sex, masturbation, or nudity, okay? Now, the bill was eventually signed into law. Between August when the bill was signed into law and November of last year, 300 books were banned from schools across the state, school libraries across the state. Now in February, the ACLU of Missouri, the Missouri Association of School Librarians, and the Missouri Library Association joined forces to file a lawsuit against the state of Missouri over these book bans. They argued that the bill violates the First Amendment. Now, furthermore, the bill included a provision that would exclude relevant works of art or science from being counted as sexually explicit. But the lawsuit argues that the book bans have been ignoring that particular provision. Now, in retaliation for the lawsuit, Missouri House Republicans want to axe the $4.5 million that is allocated to libraries in the state's budget. They've argued that they don't want to subsidize the lawsuit against the state, but keep in mind that the state is not funding that lawsuit. The ACLU is providing free legal aid. There's one big obstacle standing between the House Republicans and their goal of defunding the libraries, and you won't believe it. The obstacle is a Senate Republican. So before I get to the Senate Republican and give you the other details of this incredible story, Francesca, I want to bring you in because this is what Republicans are actually up to, right? This is what they want to do. They want to cut anything that actually improves people's lives, including libraries.
Yeah. They are trying to privatize whatever they can, right? It's gonna happen with our natural resources more and more. It's happened in other countries around, issues of like basic water rights, but that's gonna happen even more so. Like it's just anything they can. They're gonna put street signs and put those to the highest bidder. Like anything, children are gonna be named, Amazon.com, whatever, baby. Like you know what I mean? Like Pepsi baby. Like it doesn't matter. Like Republicans want to privatize everything. Everything should be up for grabs, and they've absolutely demonized libraries for so long. Why do you think libraries struggle to even stay open? Their hours are like, now we're from 11 to 3 to okay, we close at 1 on Wednesdays. Like it's not easy for public libraries, and as you mentioned, you yourself relied on them. They are huge resources for mostly students, but all people in a community. But I love the way that this got slipped in, and this is again sort of the whole conversation around, the Republicans say that there's a sexualization of children by the mere mention of issues like sexual assault. This was a bill designed to help sexual assault survivors, and instead it wound up basically taking away the idea of sexual assault, even from fictional or non-fictional, discussions of it. Which, what do you think that does to survivors? What do you think that does to what is it, like 1 in 3 people who are survivors of sexual assault? It makes people feel like their experiences are erased, irrelevant. For example, Maya Angelou, I Know Why the Caged Bird Sings. There is a part about, molestation. That's obviously gone. That's woke, maybe. So I just love the whole setup is trash, is what I'm trying to say.
I will say though, Republicans making reading cool is not what I expected, right? Because I just love the idea that you've got like a bunch of grade school kids that are like, let me get that next book, bro. Like you're just super excited about reading all this literary stuff. I mean, fact of the matter is, this is a problem that right-wing politicians have completely manufactured. Kids are not being groomed or sexualized through incredibly important books that honestly, a lot of the stuff that they try to ban, kids probably weren't even thinking about until now, right? Because nothing makes something cooler than the government trying to ban it. But I do want to go to a surprising twist to this story, because as I mentioned, it's the House Republicans in the state of Missouri trying to do this, but they ran into a brick wall when it came to a Senate Republican. So who is this guy? So it's Senator Lincoln Hoff. He's a Republican and the chief Senate budget writer. And he told the St. Louis Post-Dispatch about the canceled library funding, or this is what he said about it. There's no way that money is not going back into the budget. So basically saying, no, we're gonna fund the libraries, buzz off. Which, who is this guy? This is like the most shocking rebuttal of, or repudiation of fellow Republicans I've seen in a long time. After all, the Missouri state government is, by the way, constitutionally required to fund the state's government agencies and government programs like libraries. But that's not even the only issue that House and Senate Republicans are apparently sparring over. So the same senator, Senator Lincoln Hoff, and Senate President Caleb Roden earlier said they oppose Republican language in the House blueprint that would prohibit the state from spending tax dollars on diversity and inclusion initiatives. I'm gonna pause right there. How shocking is that, Francesca, considering this is the only thing Republicans seem to be talking about, that and persecuting transgender people?
It's mask off. I mean, this is what, I'm sorry to say his name, but it's what Trump hath wrought. I think it's even more extreme now. And so like, in the 90s and the 80s and 90s, you're like, yay, diversity matters, initiatives, all these things are like, it's window dressing on white supremacy, really. They're important programs for sure, but they're not structurally changing things, economically for people of color and poor folks in this country. But I salute those diversity initiatives. They don't even want that. They can't even do the song and dance around, a school is gonna celebrate Black History Month. I'm sorry, this is not tackling, the pillars of your white privilege are not shaking from a library doing a Black History Month reading group. Sorry, unless your white supremacy and privilege are that fragile, right? But they've got many, many hundreds of years. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what I love about this, is that it's just racist. It's just them being like, it's just white fragility.
Yeah, and I love the point that you made about like the window dressing and how the diversity and inclusion stuff that they're whining about all the time actually does nothing to structurally change the systems that continue to oppress the same groups of people in this country for years, right? And decades. Now, Roden is, again, a Senate Republican in the state of Missouri. And he's against defunding certain programs or certain entities if they include diversity and inclusion. And so Roden's smart because he's like, this is not a good idea. He said the diversity and inclusion provisions that were offered up by the House Republicans were overly broad and would result in billions of dollars in cuts to hospitals, healthcare facilities, colleges and universities, and the Missouri House of Representatives itself. He's like, what are you guys doing? You guys are calling to defund yourselves and defund
we
hospitals.
Have a library.
Yeah, I mean, it is unbelievable. Except, it's nice to see, again, a Republican try to talk some sense into his fellow party mates, I guess, the House Republicans in this case. He's like, this is stupid, we shouldn't do it. But look, this is all important to cover because what I can't stand is the faux economic populism coming from Republican lawmakers, whether it's on a state level or a federal level. They may have co-opted certain language to make it appear as though they care about your economic stability, that they care about making life easier for you. But when push comes to shove, anything that makes your life even a little economically stable or anything that might provide some assistance to you, it's on the chopping block for them. And libraries are important for a number of different reasons. First of all, if you're a student, as I was, and your family can't afford some of the technology necessary to get your schoolwork done, like a computer, you can go to a library and use the computers there for free. You can check out books, obviously, for free, including books that are assigned to you in school. If you are an adult, a lot of libraries have job training programs to help you find gainful employment. There's all sorts of really, really important elements to the public library system that I think a lot of people forget about, because maybe they didn't need to take advantage of it. Maybe they come from a more privileged, economically privileged family. But understand that they might seem like small things, but they pack a punch in a lot of people's lives, and defunding it is just not conducive to an economic populist message or policy.
Well, I know we have to move on, but like just zoom out a bit. This is what we say when we throw around the fascism word, right? People are like, what does that mean? What does that mean? It means getting rid of libraries. It means taking books away from the people. It means replacing them, privatizing them, having the DeVos family buy up little libraries and just filling them with a bunch of BS whitewashed history about how, Rush Limbaugh was the greatest man that ever lived. You know what I mean? Like Thomas Jefferson was forced into slavery by the slaves. Like this is the kind of, that is what we mean by fascism, because it is fascist uniform thinking that is not honest about history. It doesn't look at a plurality of sources. Hello, nothing but sources in the library. And it is only one line of thought that is valid. And that should make all of us incredibly frightened.
Thanks for watching The Young Turks, really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.